if my son falls down and breaks his neck, what would you think I'd feel?
Nothing.
Nothing. What would I do? Something.
Take care of it.
I would do something better than feeling sorry for him,
Okay.
and upset and frightened and angry, and then rush to his help, which only would make him worse.
Now,
It's the kind.
Yes.
It's the ability not to be upset that is food for the person that's injured.
now that is resonating in my brain. I'm starting to hear it, really hear it. I would like it to come to my heart now and act on that. I'm starting to see in the moment when somebody says something that sets me off, I can feel it.
You know, you could be aware. You could. What you need to do is to get out of your thoughts permanently.
Oh, that would be beautiful.
But it comes gradually. But
Okay.
not. It becomes gradually to the degree that you deal properly with small things.
Yes.
You don't dare start to deal with a 50-foot whale.
Okay.
To learn to.
I'll
surf.
drown. Drown. I'm
So-
seeing it, Roy. It's amazing.
So
To me, it's amazing.
excuse the expression, I could piss you off right now and you'd
Yes.
be okay.
Yes, probably. And I would feel it, and then, but I'm starting to see that I can feel
Yes,
this
you
thing in me.
stupid woman. How do you feel?
Like a stupid woman.
Forgive me I don't know, I don't know.
So for example, if somebody comes to you and says, "Can you please pray for me?" What do you do
No,
with that?
he can't talk to God.
Oh, that's what I really,
That's a good question.
okay.
You cannot talk to God. He doesn't want anything to do with you. You've got his son somewhere.
Can you talk about that, Roy, if you wouldn't mind?
It depends on where you want me to start.
Okay. Pray for me, Roy, so that I can become
I don't
healed.
need to. I have it in my power. Just to tell you. I had a person talking to me the other day on the radio, and I get so many people, I get them mixed up. But he was very disturbed, and I let him talk a lot. And he gave me a lot of praise. You're this, you're that, you're pure, you're not like anybody else. I've never heard anybody else before. I hate the whole world. That's what she was saying.
Well,
wasn't she?
that's about right. That's probably how I feel too.
So she says, what can I do about that? I said, nothing. I says, do you see where I'm coming from? She says, yes. Is it from a different place like everybody else? She says, yes, you're pure. You're not like everybody else. I says, do you recognize it? Yes. Do you get a breath of fresh air when you hear it? That's why you're calling me? Yes. Do you think that it's me talking? No. That's what makes me different. So therefore, I have the power to help you. And this is how it happens. You see where I'm coming from? Mm-hmm. Do you see I made a point with you? You see that what you're doing is wrong? I forget what it was. She said, yes. Are you happy to see me? Yes. Then you recognize where I'm coming from? Yes. Then you're already on your way. Because then I explained to the audience who didn't understand. And I said, I'm absent-minded. That's why I get a lot absent-minded with my sickness. When I talk, I'm not. All my absent-mindedness goes away. I forget everybody's names. But I'm speaking to you because I don't need to remember anything. I don't need to recall anything. So to hell with my brain. Well, that's where it is, basically. It used to be, you used to be, or we also used to be, caught up in your brain.
Yes.
And therefore subject to the world and not subject to God.
I still am caught up in my brain, Roy,
Yeah.
but I see that I'm caught up in my brain.
Well, that's good enough. But when you see that you are, then you also must see that you are helpless to fix it.
Oh,
You're helpless to fix it. There's nothing you can do. You got to go on with your own stupid self and see it. But if you're happy to see it, now the word happiness we need to explain. Happiness is not a feeling. Don't be happy to see something in the context of what everybody sees it as. A lot of money, right?
yes.
See? Happiness is no feeling. Happiness is freedom from feelings. You can't function through love and hate. What you think of as love and what is hate that leads you to the wrong kind of love, which leads you back to hate again. Never ending
Okay.
till you die.
Now, Roy, when I hear you on the radio speaking to people and you're patiently walking through the journey with them, talking, extracting, I think, dear God, I don't have that compassion. I can see myself getting frustrated sometimes with the problems that they have because I believe it's because I identify with their problems. And then there's times,
You're the extension of their problem.
okay,
Since
okay.
your child, which are similar problems.
right. And then I see sometimes I'll even start crying. I'll feel so sorry for whatever it is that they're going
No,
through.
you don't want to feel sorry.
These ups and downs.
No, sorry is a game.
Yeah.
Being sorry for yourself.
Okay.
That is like having somebody sorry for you. Let me help you.
And then
It's
I'm
like that-
thinking, maybe this is compassion, but this is not compassion.
No. It's all games. It's all, you're imprinted with an entity. It's an entity that enters you the day you come into the world. You are innocent. Adam was guilty. The only person on earth, whether you're German, Dutch, whether you're born in Borneo as a cannibal, you're born innocent. You're born with intuition. It depends on where you are. Like in America, or used to be, if you're born into a world where people are not so corrupt, but much more free and much more common sense, and which is not a case now. There's a huge effort to destroy the common sense of everybody for the last 60 years. I've been screaming. See, warning, civil war's coming in 1980. See.
You know, where I don't mean to, but I think when I look around and I see the society that we currently live in, the tattoos, the piercings,
It's a hellhole.
I look at it and I think it feels like we're kind of in The Walking Dead, with zombies. They look like zombies. These people.
Well, you have two types.
Okay.
You have on the right, you have the intellectual nincompoop.
Right.
And you saw him up the 16 with the other person, getting the head of it because he's talking from his common sense. See? And that's beautiful, no matter how much you know. Every one of them was all prepared machines. Beautiful machines. Just like a Bible thumper, learning the Bible from cover to cover. And then getting, he said the best. He'd make a good preacher. No, he wouldn't. See? So, continue with your thought.
I have to work. So I know that you would be better at this. You just know what to say to people if you're standing in the grocery line or whatever. But I'm in the grocery line and there's a girl in front of me.
What grocery line?
Anywhere when you go to the store
Yeah.
or supermarkets. And there's a young lady in front of me that's got shorts on that look like bikini underwear. And I'm thinking, dear God. So the judgment comes out of me. And I'm thinking, I wouldn't even know what to say to an individual.
I'll tell you what my son said when he was
Put some clothes
when he
on.
was 2 years old. We were standing in the line in a grocery store, and there was a 600-pound woman with a big hoop. And he was sitting underneath it, and it was casting a shadow. And he says, "Hey, Mom, Dad, that man's got a big ass." And the woman turned around and looked. And she couldn't do a thing. That's being honest. And the power is the innocence. So where were we? I tend to take you off the track sometimes.
That's okay. I go with you. We go down this rabbit hole. It's fine. I just think it's all encompassing. I look at the society at whole, how it just seems like it's just going down
It
this.
is. But on
awful
the right
path.
is the same as the left. They're fighting for the prize. They're fighting for it. Those who look like they're conservatives are not. They're not. They're equivalent to the Ku Klux Klan hating good. In those days, Black American were just noble people, enslaved, more better and more noble than those who enslaved them, and obedient because they have no way of coming out. We know the rest of the story. But they now they find themselves in the inner cities drawn back to that which has corrupted them. That's what happens. You draw back to what has corrupted you, because you've taken on something of the extension of them. And because that's all you are, because the extension of them is not the extension of God. Mm-hmm. And therefore, you are subject to becoming who they are. And the more you yield to that, the more you are hated for it because you're not loving enough.
Can you explain that a little bit more in depth, Roy? I think
Yeah.
that is an amazing point.
There's two frames of thought with a person who hates you and controls you. You hate being a slave. You know you're a slave, but you can't help being a slave. And if you stand up for yourself, he'll kill you, he'll beat you. So you have to go along to get along, but you do it with hate first. And if you're decent, you'd see that hate has turned into what looks like love. And therefore you try to love him, not to hurt you, but that love is appeasement and not love. He cannot get out, he cannot see it, ever. Wholesale.
Okay.
Everybody's like that.
Yes.
And nobody has a chance to hear a person like me. I'm the most dangerous person in the country. I'm the most dangerous person on earth. If there are other people like that, they haven't got the power I have on radio.
Right. Right.
They don't have the skills.
Yes.
They don't have the whole piece, because the whole piece has not been found for thousands of years. It's been going the same way. You have a love-hate relationship with a bully. And you can do it, and the bully will do it to you, and you turn around and do it to somebody else, and if somebody's really good at it, he praises you for being the bully, the extension of who he is. He gets rewarded. The nature in that person gets rewarded with money and a political position. That's how they grow.
Now,
Donald Trump couldn't say it better than
I
that.
know. I wonder if, I don't know if this is true, and I know that you have the skill to identify it.
No, it's not a skill.
Okay. The ability.
No, it's a nature.
Okay.
It's who I am.
Grace.
No, it's never mind. I don't like to give it a name.
Okay.
It is a gift
It is.
which I do not understand myself, nor do I want to understand myself, but it gives me understanding of other people's selves, and then me back again. Oh, did I say that? That's interesting. See? And then it becomes a memory, a sort of memory, but not the kind of memory of a brain, because the brain dies a death and rots. So it's a spiritual knowledge, and the spiritual knowledge grows into a body, into a body that looks like you, or in some people doesn't look like them. Thank God.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. An ugly person can be so beautiful inside.
I know. I'm wondering, Roy, if when I see the society with the piercings and tattoos and little shorts and whatnot, if I see the extension of maybe the ugliness in them that maybe is ugly in
No,
me.
no, you don't want to make a judgment.
And
If
but
a
I
person
do. I
walks-
see that I do.
If a woman walks in, which I see that you're kind of talking about, having one of those bathing suits that is only covering a crack.
But I'm gonna leave, Roy.
Really, they're walking around public like this. Gosh.
I'm not being rude.
No, it's the truth. It's there.
It's better than saying us.
Yeah.
His mother used to say, what's on his lung is on his tongue.
But it is.
I know. I'm not politically correct.
It's the truth.
I'm not one of those preachers. I'm just an ordinary guy. And that's what ordinary. That's what it means. Ordinary. To be otherwise is to be extraordinary, an animal, in conflict with your human.
So I have been labeled aloof because I don't.
Why you care about labels?
Okay.
Screw the labels. They automatically label themselves. Listen to me on my radio program. Can I share it?
Please.
Because you may have heard it, but I'm not afraid to use my microphone in a different way that the left or the right uses their microphone. I will intimidate people with the truth. So if you're 7 foot tall and you start pushing me around, you're going to feel a reaction of fear in yourself. And then in that, I might speak a word or two that's disturbing and truthful. And that disturbs him more, but when it disturbs him more, I'm not disturbed. And the more he tries to disturb me, the more he gets disturbed for not disturbing me, because I'm food and he has to eat me. And I have to make a mistake. I have to give in to anything when I won't. Unless he's going to kill me, that's the only thing he's going to do, and that might stop. He may stop that in midair too. My wife will tell you a story where I took on a whole gang. I've told you the story many times. I won't do it again.
When you brought up the analogy about feeding, about food, it made perfect sense to me.
You want to change the subject?
Spiritual food, yes.
Yes, okay.
But if we could go back to when you see a girl or these people walking around in their degraded look, I understand that they had.
Have you looked at what do they call those malls? Where
Yes.
people, they don't look like people.
They don't. They don't.
Little munchkins.
Yes, yes.
It's all food.
There's a recent movie, or I don't know how long ago it came out. It's called Gulliver's Travels, and he was on an island, and there were yahoos. The people were yahoos. They were just completely base. They just fed themselves, and
That sounds like America.
it does. It does. I look around, I see a bunch of
But there are
yahoos.
good people here
There
too.
are. There are.
Yeah, we are beginning to see the rise of the good, but they're not good enough. You see, when you're dealing with evil, it's most of the time evil all the way through, because it's been such a long, it's 50, 60 years of it, and multiplying more and more people to turn against their own country and see evil as good and good as evil. That's how how the Germans used to see Hitler. You could only see him through an emotional the emotion that he has. See that? When you're emotional, you don't see clearly.
Okay.
You see what the person has made you emotional wants you to see.
I'm getting that. I'm on that wave right now.
Yeah.
It's a small wave. How can you help me, Roy, see the
I
individuals in
can't
this
help
world?
you at all.
Or
I can only show you.
show me, forgive them, Father, for they know not what they
But
do.
you don't have to say it.
Okay.
It turns, if it stays in words,
Uh-huh.
now I can repeat it, but it doesn't stay
Okay.
in words.
Okay.
It is in reserve in my intellect,
Okay,
so to speak. I don't need that because I forgive them for they know not what they do without words.
I'm still saying it in words.
Yes.
I'm saying it in words.
No, it's no good.
Okay,
Words will remind you,
okay.
but then,
Can I add something?
Sure.
yes.
Something happened to me Friday.
I know you call me.
I called Roy because I have his number, and I never call him, but I called him because I thought I was dying. And I didn't have anything to say. I just knew the agony that I was in, and we talked about my father. And,
And I've
I-
known you for a long time.
Long time.
40 years.
yeah, more, yeah,
Yeah.
40 years. And I started talking about something that had been bothering me about my father. Part of it was because I was going through symptoms that looked like the way he died. And I just told a story I've told before about my last conversation with my father, where at the end of the conversation, I said, my dad lied to my mother about something, and I said, "You're not too tired to talk. We've been talking for an hour. Why would you lie?" And he looked at me, and his eyes drew in, and he got sullen, and we never had a conversation again until he died.
He hated you for that.
He hated me for that honesty.
And that's why he died.
And that, what, the funny thing is, that reproduces what probably happened to me as a little tiny
But
boy. It's just going my whole life. And here I was in my
That's all it
40s.
takes.
And-
Transference.
And then,
Transference from Paradise Lost.
but the spell of it all was still with me, and I'm 70. The whole trauma of my father rejecting me because I tell him the truth. And Roy just talked about it a little bit. Our conversation wasn't more than 15 minutes. And somewhere, because I wanted to see the connection, but I didn't know what it was, I never saw the connection. I began sobbing. And it wasn't my mind sobbing. It was something deep buried inside of me that's sobbing. The sorrow for being the boy who held it against the dad because he was wicked. I tried to make up for my dad's wickedness because I felt guilty.
That's where you got worse.
I got worse
You got worse.
because I didn't want to admit
You
that I
become the
hated
slave like the black people to the liberals.
Yeah. So, but what I wanted to say was, it wasn't so much the words Roy said, it's where he was coming from. Somehow, there's
It's a
something
dark side.
in him beyond the words, and there was something in me beyond the words and the mind that was open to it, and that spirit came through him into me, and all of a sudden I was sobbing, and I didn't really know why I was sobbing, but I knew it was something deep in me that was sorry. And I changed from that
And it didn't have a
moment.
word. The word
It's not
sorry-
the words
word
at all.
sorry
I
wasn't
could not
there.
tell the word. I just knew it was touching something deep in me.
Yes, that's
And
good
there was
enough.
a sorrow of the little boy spirit who was sorry he did this and sorry for all this, and it freed me. And
No,
now
it's
I
like
need,
God being sorry for you and helping you.
pardon?
God hears it.
Yeah.
Hears your sorrow.
He hears the sorrow.
that's
And
all-
I
it's
can't
all
make
he
it up.
needs. It's all he needs.
And what it was the Spirit of God in you brought that sorrow, released that sorrow in me.
Took a while.
And it expressed, took a while,
Yeah.
it expressed itself.
And you did pretty good for a long time.
I did all right, but
And
it
here's the
was
last
still
piece. Here's the
there
last
tainting
piece.
everything.
Yes. This is the last piece.
And I feel so
And
different.
you took your moustache off.
I cut, my dad always had a mustache, his dad had a mustache. I always wore a mustache, and
And that
lately,
moustache was post-traumatic stress
it
disorder.
was. It was sitting there.
Now do you
And
understand
it
how
was
dangerous
like, I
it
used
is?
to say to
You
myself,
wore it.
I have a mustache because it's an honoring the good things of my dad. But the thing is, I needed to see that even though my dad wasn't to blame, it was wicked of him to crush my
But now I
innocence.
can see you're bald.
Yeah.
The wages of sin. But we'll see
Let's
what
make it
happens.
light.
Yeah.
It's what, and he was bald too. And his dad was bald too.
Well, it all depends what you're talking about.
And it wasn't inherited.
Yeah.
But anyway, what I'm saying to you is just beyond the words. It's about opening, somehow having it, and when you know you can't open your heart, but you wish your heart would open, you wish the penetration, you wished you wouldn't reach up and protect yourself, that is the salvation. And
Good.
we are blessed with the presence of someone it flows through willingly. People should be coming here, opening their heart every Sunday.
I don't understand.
They don't.
They don't.
They stay back there and wait to listen to you. And by you becoming there, you are bringing you there. See? But they should really come if they could. But you can't come if you're in Tanzania.
No. But you could call. They could call you like I called you. I got it over the phone.
That's right. I
See?
spoke to Tanzania for 25 years regularly and helped them there. And the country completely changed. Nice.
Hi, Roy. I don't know what I'm going to say.
Can you stand up because you're so small?
I get wobbly sometimes when I stand
Oh,
up.
all right. Then you
Can I
sit
just
there.
go
Yeah,
forward?
that's all right.
I've been going through things in my life, and I realized I'm not who I think I am.
That's correct.
But I thought I was a nice little old lady, but I'm wicked. I'm angry, and I'm mad.
You're lucky alive
I
to see
am.
it.
And my daughter and Charles have
It's a
been.
blessing. It's a blessing that you lived this long. That's
I
how
know.
much God loves you.
There
You
must
should have
be
been
some
dead a long time
reason.
ago for what you did.
Driving down here today, this all came to me. And I come week after week and I listen to you. Sometimes I go home and I get some of it, and sometimes I don't. I think there's something in me that doesn't want to
hear.
listen to you,
That's
that doesn't want to
But it's
hear
not
you.
you. It's not. Once you realize that it isn't you, but it feels like you, then there's nothing wrong with
I
feeling
know.
like you.
And that's what I realize it is.
Come out. Come out. You know he's in there.
I do.
I said, come out. I said, come out. Come out of her. And you know his name is Jesus, isn't it? Do you
Yes.
believe in him?
I do.
Do you see him in me?
Yes,
Okay.
I have been.
You got it now?
I did. I watched an old session. You said you were 80 years old. It was a long, long time ago. And I was looking directly at you, and I could see him in your eyes. I know God was right there talking. It wasn't you.
It's never me, but I'm the extension of him. See, we're all extensions. Even the animal is an extension of God. The blades of grass, everything that was made. But us is special because a blade of grass have no contact with Creator. It's just going to do what Creator says and does not have any consciousness.
Of it.
The birds and the bees and the snails and the trees, they have no consciousness. They eat each other. That's all right, because you have to. In order for you to live, you have to eat something living. You can't eat dirt. So therefore, the reproduction of everything is valuable to us for many reasons. For the atmosphere, for the evolutions of things, for the changes of things, of material, of animals and creatures. And he's always inventing, creating. One group dies, and 10 millions later, the dinosaurs have disappeared, and you've got other things. And then it keeps on changing. He is a magical artist. He's magic. Understand he's magic. And understand he existed all the time, which is beyond your grasp. But I grasp it. I know he's been there always. And therefore, the world, the universe will be here always. Because he's a creator. And he's a metaphysical being, creating the physicals. And then creating himself in his image and saying, here is your opportunity for paradise, to live forever as my children. What father would want the children to die? Not God, not Jesus. That's why he lived.
I don't know if you're done. I have the
You're big enough to stand up.
I have the kind of the
Sitting.
same thoughts as like she does, where it's like I haven't felt like this since I was a child, angry all the time.
But you
And
don't look
hating
angry.
everybody.
You don't look angry.
I know, because I inherited that from my mom to save face, but it's not how I feel on the inside.
In other words, you're fake.
Huge phony.
But
Huge.
you try to be a good person. I like that.
But it's like recently, it's like I see myself so much and I see that anger all the time.
Well, you just watch it and say, oh, I see that. Can you say, hey, I see that. That's not me. Where did I get that from? You need to not to attach it to yourself.
The thing is, I know it's not me, but
But then leave it.
I hate it.
Trust it. No, it hates it. It hates it. You have identity crisis. You're infected. What is another word I keep forgetting? Virus? No, it's not a virus. There's another word I use for demon.
Entity?
You have an entity.
I do. I feel it.
You have an entity.
And I don't want it because it's not mine.
Oh.
And I don't know how to make it go.
I do. I almost fell on my nose doing that, and I have to put the cross back up myself. And thank you.
Thank you.
Well, come over here. You can put this down.
Okay.
Let's just see what this feels like. It represents something. It represents the dark side hates it. It's been found out. It can't exist when it's found out. You'll be fine. You'll be fine. Come out. Come out. Come out. Come out. That's what you need is a good cry. You're sorry, aren't you? You don't need to be sorry. It's done. Everything you ever did is the extension of your parents. You've been programmed. You're a sweet, decent person inside. Understand that. You just was programmed. This is unprogramming. This is unprogramming. Unprogrammed. No more of you inside. No more of your mother inside, your father inside, or anybody else inside. It's a spirit. It's my spirit against that spirit. It's my spirit. It's a war, and you lose. Calm down. Feel better now.
I do. I feel a lot better.
You'll be all right. That's all it takes. Okay.
Thank you. Sorry.
You're welcome. Oh, here.
Roy,
Yes.
can I get the cross? Can I get the cross?
Be my guest. Let's get rid of the rest of it. Let's get rid of the rest of it. Let's get rid of the rest of it. Come on, come out. Come out. You got a kidney next. Help her with it.
Stay there.
You're sorry, aren't you? But it never was you.
It's so natural, Roy.
You know you're going to be normal. You're going to be natural now. You're going to be really true to yourself. And say no when you mean no. Say yes to being saved. Yes, you want to. You are. You are. And because of this, because that thing inside is scared of this. It's just scared of it. This is post-traumatic stress disorder. This is the opposite. It doesn't want to know this. It doesn't want to know it's dead.
Doesn't want to, Roy.
It doesn't want to know it's found out.
It doesn't.
Yes, but I like it. I'm making fun of it. So you better get out of her. That's it. You're all right now.
Oh, that felt so easy, Roy. Oh my gosh. I can't believe it.
You'll be fine. You'll be fine. Otherwise, we have more. We don't want any theatrics. I challenge anybody in religion to do what I do. I have no formal education in anything. But I didn't need it. Because God is within you. I think there's a word in I don't remember it's Latin. It has to do with the word that means learning, to bring forth from. What's the word? Educare. That's the word. Educare, which means to bring forth from within. And that doesn't come from a religious area. It comes from a non-religious area. An intellectual, whether it's Rome or whether it's Greece, I don't know where it comes from. A Latin? It's Latin. It's probably Latin. But it has a meaning. They knew it then. It's always been known, but always the rise to intellect, the compulsion to learn, either learning the things that you should discover. But you see, there was a way of learning by speaking. But it's how you speak, it's where you're coming from and how you're explaining things. Because you probably heard lots of things like this before from other people. See? And all these different words. I put them together a little differently. But my heart is different. It doesn't require you to remember it. I say, don't need to remember it. You just say, oh, I see that for the moment. And it's gone. And then it will come back to you in the way it should. Not in words, but in understanding. Oh, I see that now. But you may not connect it to what I said. See? It's very complicated. Do not try to figure it out. It's the work of Creator. I'm His work. I marvel that I have a finger to pick my nose with. No, just kidding. I've got to have a little levity here. It can't be all serious. You can talk about serious things and have fun, can't you?
Yes, it's important to do that.
You see? So, I'm glad I've got hair. See? I'm glad I have a long life. And they try to kill me every day. That's right. So I've learned a lot. I've written my books. So many, I can't believe how many I got. It never stops. I've been doing it for God knows how many years. And I have good editors too. I don't think it'd be very good if I didn't have good editors. See, but the editing is good. And I'm bringing to you all the things I see in ways that are not me. If it was me teaching you, it would be no damn good, because you'd learn it and then repeat it. And especially dangerous is religion. Verse and chapter you don't need to remember. You don't have to, you dare not sit and remember and learn it by heart, because the letter killeth and the spirit gives life. But what's the birth? But how do you pass it from generation to generation? Well, you got the Bible. That's the evidence. Now you have to understand you have to have evidence inside you what wrote that book. And after a while, you don't have to learn a whole lot about anything. The history is beautiful. It's very nice when you hear it. I don't have to have verse and chapter, but some verses and chapters are really powerful, and I just made one. And I forgot what it was just now, immediately. Huh?
The letter killeth.
And the spirit give life. The knowledge of good. The knowledge is study. Is to learn by other means. But if you can listen to people talk about that, and it makes sense to you, that's enough. You don't have to remember it. It's a living thing. Do you get that?
Yes.
Don't try to remember it. I have my vocabulary. I don't know where it went. When I walk out of here, I can't remember anybody's names, not even my own grandchildren. They have to carry signs on them.
Except mine, and where's my...
But when I'm here, I'm alive. When I'm fighting, I'm alive.
Sure.
The words come, but they're not my words. And because you are receptive, I can speak. And if you were wicked, that's a reason for me to speak. But frivolous, no thank you. But meanwhile, I'm mulling over things. Oh, the scientists think that everything came from a little pea. I don't mean, it could have been both, either one. Because it's as good as it could. It's crazy. They throw this crazy thing on us. That's why, don't worry. It's just a piece of wood. It's not Jesus. It's just a reminder. I can stamp on it and not worry. Yeah, I'm not that way, don't you see? It's a piece of wood. A piece of wood is a counter-hypnotic suggestion. Do you see that? Your moustache carried around with you. You couldn't get away from it.
And I would trim my mustache with the meticulous effort that my mother taught me. She taught me all this
You've got
stuff
mother
about
and your father.
do the job right, get it correct. And I would notice as I'm trimming the mustache, I just think of my mother. And it's like that little bit of her was in me, trimming the mustache that was my father's mustache. She supported my dad just like that. Her and him in me is supporting this.
Your father was a slave of your mother.
Yes.
Simple.
And
you're
she
the
was a
only
slave
one
of
who's ever
sin.
done that.
And she was...
And she was a slave of, they were all a slave of sin.
Well, what I did-
And my making up, here's my flaw, is that I resented that, and that was my sin.
You resented what?
I resented their rejection of my innocence. Their crushing of my innocence, I resented that. And that was my sin. And in honoring them in any way, because they had good things about them, that was a way to make up for my own guilt. If I faced my guilt, I was free of the whole conditioning thing. I'm hoping. It looks like it, but who knows? We'll see.
But the point is you had walking around under your nose.
Yes, under my nose.
Literally under his
and I would
nose.
see it every day in the mirror. And that was the symbol of this whole enslavement. Everybody has the same.
Can you believe having a moustache driving you nuts?
It's the evidence. And we have to go with what we can see to start with.
But where's the power? The interesting thing is you got
No,
this...
the mustache didn't have the power. It was what was justifying it.
what was it? It lived in it.
Yeah.
It's a programming that lived it. It's like a living.
It's like I'm looking in the mirror at my father's face,
Yes.
which was true, because he was still in it.
Now you need to know what to look for. It will be the least thing you expect.
Little tiny nothing. The curl of your hair.
Oh, don't begin me. You only wish you have some now.
Well, I used to, when I was a kid, little kid, I remember I used to twirl my hair like this as a nervous habit.
You anticipated my coming.
And later, when I couldn't do that, I would twirl the end of the mustache. The same nervous twitch thing, which all had to do with the anxiety
But
of a
picking your
little
nose
boy.
works too.
What was that?
You're picking your nose works the
Well, it does
same
too.
way.
Anything, any little
Anything.
thing, anything, it reinforces that trauma.
Yes.
Because I was a little boy, felt rejected and lost in an alien world.
But is it amazing that, what's her name here?
Wendy,
Wendy. I told you.
You know who your name is.
You know what? She walked out of my house one day. I told you this. And I said, take, what did I say? Take care. And that was the word her wicked mother said after she'd finished demoralizing her. And she didn't know she was resenting it while I was saying it. And then all of a sudden, I said it. I may have said it before. I'm always like to say goodbye. I said, but that was the same words. It had to be the same words. It just accidental. It was accidental.
When you said the
It was
words-
intuitive.
Yeah.
Unstated.
When you said the words, you undid the trauma of what her mother
She woke
did.
up because
Yeah.
the result of that, if I may say the rest of it, is she had a problem with the breathing, which is very dangerous. She was just about to go to the hospital or to an examination, to see what's going on. She was able. She's been better ever since. That minute.
Well, my husband that morning, when he woke up, he said to me, "You need to take me to the doctors. I'm very, very ill, and I need to have tests run." And I said to him, "Why don't you call Roy?" And he said, "I'll call him tonight on the show." I said, "No,
No.
call him right
He has
now."
a privilege with me. I'm his friend.
and I called you before 6 in the morning.
That's all. I don't care in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
That's all right with me. I'm a doctor.
And I realized when I was putting it off to a more gracious hour, I realized that's that craziness in me, putting off what should be done now.
Yeah, it's all right. But that
And
still
it
works,
already began to free me just by calling that early.
of course.
Just little tiny thing.
You're not afraid of what I'm going to say.
No,
You know I won't hurt you.
no, I know that you're medicine for my soul. What's in you is medicine for my soul, has been for many years. I can't explain it. I mean, I could give an explanation.
I can't
but
explain it either.
But it just works. If it works, I'm for it.
It just works. I don't have to look at myself and see why my hair grows. See? Or whatever. It's all machinery. It's all by itself. Even the doctors really don't know what it is. If they have a problem with it, they just cut it out. And they take you to the grave pieces at a time. The body, the immune system will work. And they're beginning to understand, having said this, what I've been saying all about cancer and other things, but especially cancer. I've dealt with it on the radio many times. I said, it's the immune system, silly. And you wasted your immune system smoking, drinking, whatever it is you do, getting angry, frustrated, whatever it is you do, which is not kosher, that's what's killing you. Everybody has a different way. Some people smoke dope. Some people like to have lots of sex and smoke dope. See, some people like to hurt others and steal, and curse under their breath and judge. Whatever it is, eat too much and feel good about yourself because you're good and fat. and you don't need to have sex anymore because you hate the bastards. So you make yourself fat. You've got to have something to feel better, so eat a lot. And you don't. And anybody doesn't want that pig, and every now and then somebody wants that pig.
Stop being so graphic.
Well, I'm talking. God has a humor.
Yes, he does.
I'm not going to keep that from you. You can learn better to laugh than cry. Although a little cry is a good thing. Well, this is.
See what you started.
Hello. This is fun. I'm enjoying myself.
I know it's very catchy. But my whole life I've been trying to pretend like everything was okay.
I know.
It never
You
was
see that?
okay.
Pretending everything's okay.
I didn't want anybody to see what I was really like. But my kids know what I'm really like. My whole family's in shambles now. I turned into my mom. I am a very bitter
You become
person.
the thing you hate. That's why I just stopped hating her, because she couldn't help her, because she
I
she
get
hurt-
it.
She
I
became
really
the
do
thing
get
she
that.
hated and passed it on to you.
I really do get that. And then she actually confessed something very important to me. My mom never does that. And my heart was warmed up so much. It was such a good thing for her to do. And it helped me. It
What
was
did
like
she
a
do?
big piece of the
What did she-
puzzle.
What did she do?
She confessed something that she did to me as a child. I couldn't let it go. It was crazy. And once a year I would bring it up. I'm like, why?
What was it? Do you remember?
Okay,
what
I'll
it-
tell you. This is what I grew up with. My mom bought me a pair of shoes, and I lost one of them the very first week.
Yes.
And she made me look for this shoe every single day for hours, for months. And you just have to keep repeating, looking in the same places.
there's
And
a lot
I
of
said,
a lot of resentment there.
so I told her, I said, I felt like I was literally going insane, and I didn't know what insane was. I was in 4th grade. And she told me she knew where the shoe was the whole time.
That is evil. That is evil.
But at least she told me. That was so nice that she told me, because then I'm like,
But did it
I was
cure
trying
you?
to understand
Did
the crazy person.
How long ago did she teach you? How long after she found it? Did she tell you?
40 years.
It was 4 years.
40 years.
40 years?
Yeah, she just told me.
She kept
a couple
it. She
years ago.
kept it for 40 years. That is. But that is. Then she could be sent to be a nice person. Then she could be a nice person on the surface, like she is. See that? She's on the nice one. And there's a danger on you doing the same thing to your children.
I did it. I already did it. And now they're continuing it. And it's like a disease, and the
See?
whole family has.
That is hypnotic. But hypnotic, as I try to reveal it to you, is my name for temptation. And deliver us from temptation, deliver us from evil. All who sin hate are slaves of that which they hate. Period. You take on their nature and lose God's instead. Simple.
Roy,
It's a matter of how you grow. But
So,
also, it
I
can
have
go
something
away.
living inside of me.
You want this thing?
I don't know if I'll work, because I haven't been able to let go of it.
I'll brush it off a little bit. This shouldn't be funny. It should be real and funny. I can take that away from you.
Oh, please do.
Close your eyes.
Please take it away.
Keep your eyes closed. And make your head feel Be aware of your head. That's right. Be aware of your head. See, be aware of my fingers and follow my fingers. Follow these fingers. See it in your mind, with your mind. Follow it. If you don't feel like it, move it forward. Head fall forward. Falling forward. Falling forward. Falling forward. Falling forward. Falling forward. Falling forward. Getting heavier. Heavier. I want you to listen to me. Falling forward. Your mother did not know she was doing it. Let it go. You can. God's given it to you. God's given it to you. This is cost represents redemption. Do you understand? It's not important anymore.
I just want to be sorry for what I did.
You are. I see your sorrow. I see your sorrow. Don't you see?
I hurt all my kids like
Don't
she
you think
did to me.
You'll be fine. You'll be fine. At first they might just say, "What happened to you, mother?" You're different. What happened to you, mother? You're different.
My grandkids are
You'll be all
suffering.
right. Don't worry. It's not a big thing. Listen, who do you love more? Me or your mother? See? Right. Okay. You're right now.
And I want to tell you something
What?
too. I found out that I was using you. I did the same
put me
thing
on a
with God.
pedestal.
I did. I put you on a pedestal.
no
but I
more.
wanted you to save me, and
I
you
ca-
wouldn't
I-
do it,
I-
and it really pissed me off.
I know. There's that word piss. I'm not the only one that uses it.
But you know what? A really sweet thing happened.
What?
As a friend of mine told me, you got to go on your own. You got to find your own way, and just what you always told us. And
But
it finally
your
happened.
own
It
way
took a
is
long
not
time.
your own way, it's His way.
Well, I mean my own way to God,
Of
the
course.
same way that you go to God.
Course. We
And
just, I just
finding my
put you on the
connection.
journey.
I know. Thank
You feel better
so
now,
much.
don't you? It's relief.
Can we clap?
You can
Thank
if you want
you.
to.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. You know, getting better is not difficult, is it? I'm sick myself. It might work. But she had to drive me to here. I couldn't drive the car. But when I get here, I'm not me anymore. In a manner of speaking. Well, didn't we have a nice discussion? Anybody has to say, how do you like my magic? This is magic. This is magic too. See?
These
What-
two are so honest, Roy. All I have to do is, I'll do something utterly ridiculous, and they call me on it,
Yeah. That's good.
especially my daughter,
Especially your son.
both of them.
Yeah, both of them.
Yeah.
But the son is a man boy. And and then she's a girl boy.
She is. She is. She really is.
But she doesn't want to
She
be a
is.
girl boy. She wants to be pure girl. She doesn't have to fight to be better. She needs to stand up and be gracious.
She does stand up
Yeah.
to everybody.
Never with anger.
Yes.
And then she'll retain her innocence
Okay.
as a woman.
Okay.
There aren't too many innocent women.
Gosh. Yeah.
There aren't too many innocent men. But there's lots of, but just helping one person to be the kind of inhabit the innocence, a redemption from guilt, because man born of woman is subject to her by the way of birth, because the father, the way he had relationships with her, was selfish, and the woman can feel it, hate him for it, and she could live with him or throw him away, and take advantage of him, so on and so forth. But what she needs is authority that isn't coming from the monkey. See? Otherwise, she'll make a monkey out of him. But she does. And that's divorce.
Yeah.
And that's misery, and that's suffering. I'd say to every man, they got to not look to woman for love. Women can look to love from the man, but she's giving sex, to, sex, to get it. And then use it in the hope that it will come to, but it won't. All it does is make him weak for her or bully for her. And that's the end of everything. We are meant for higher things. We're born into a world innocent, but we're not guilty of our innocence by losing it, because we can't help it. The little child can't help it. So you can't blame a little child. That's why you cannot hang on to your guilt. You were made guilt by coming into a culture that put themselves in you. You had no chance whatsoever. And therefore, God knows that. If he only made one pair of human beings where they actually sinned. Adam decided he wanted to have the knowledge of good and evil so he can be God. That's what was going through his head at that time. And therefore he gave in to woman. He gave in, he was tempted because he'd already lost great relationship with his God just by the thought of it.
You lost the relationship with God just for the moment?
Just for the thought of it, because it becomes action. Do you think I think of doing evil to anybody? No. The thought of it is not good. I can see the evil, but I don't see the thought. I'm judging. I don't see the thought of judgment. I just see it. He's evil. He's stupid. He can't help himself. I don't have to say those words. It's just, I just see it, and it doesn't mean anything to me.
Okay, I'm still saying the words, so that means it's judgment, huh? Okay.
What you need to do is be aware of yourself all the time. When you find yourself daydreaming, oh, I'm daydreaming. Come to the moment. Look at the trees and the flowers and the bees or whatever. But just don't watch those endless thoughts. There are thoughts passing through my head all the time. Somehow it's cyclic. And every now and then, the cyclic comes up and you see a fault where you never saw it before, and you push it down.
Okay.
And after a while, you get so expert at pushing it down, you can't see it ever when it happens, but it's getting worse. That particular thing that you push down is going to come again and worse.
Yes.
And that's going to wake you up sooner or later because of the pain of it.
That's
And
where
then you
we're
take drugs for your anxiety.
Yes.
And there it is.
Okay. Yeah, and I see that feeling of wanting to go have a glass of wine or something.
But then all you say is, why am I doing that?
Yeah, okay,
You don't say, why am I doing that?
okay.
You don't need to. It's all silent. Why am I doing it? I can't say it, because if I don't say it, I can't tell you.
Yeah, that pool. Right.
It's simple.
Is it the pool?
Right.
Could you stand up, please?
This is something that's just kind of a bit intrigues me, actually. Something that happened to me, and all the people talking about the entities in them reminded me of something that happened about maybe 3 or 4 months ago. I don't know how long ago it was, but I was driving and something popped in my head. I know this sounds awful, but it's what popped in my head. I'm going to kill my mother. My mother's already dead. But that's not the whole story. About the same time when that popped into my head, I could sense an entity. I could sense its essence. It had a very real, you know, like an orange is an orange, an apple is an apple. It had an essence. And I could sense it.
clear.
And I could sense it very clearly. And the thing that fascinated me about it was that I had a memory of sensing this exact same essence when I was very small.
From your mother.
Yeah, I remember walking home from kindergarten.
But you picked it up. You picked it up.
What's that?
You unconsciously picked it up. You have no resistance to it when you were a little child.
Yeah, well, the thing I still remember is walking home from kindergarten, and I didn't even walk into kindergarten. Sometimes I think, you know, I got to kill my mother before she kills me. Of course, you know, I remember thinking that a few times, but then when I was at home,
But those,
I never thought about it when I was
But
at home,
you-
that I
you-
remember. I remember
that
doing
is
it
a
when I was
sign.
meant to go into kindergarten.
that's a sign that you've been angry with your mother.
Yes.
If you hadn't been angry, the thought wouldn't be put in your mind
Yes.
to do that.
But the
And
other
then
thing,
suppress it.
but then the other thing was when I was walking home from kindergarten, I sensed that spirit, and it was like it was behind me, like it was gonna come and get me, you know.
Yes.
And I don't remember also sensing
what
that
did you
it's
do?
the same
What-
thing that was in my whole family. Everybody had it, but
Yes.
I didn't have it
The
then.
whole family.
At that point, I didn't have it. But then I think it did. I mean, it did actually finally catch
you
me.
got- you got
but
upset.
it still fascinates me that all those years went by, and I don't remember sensing that essence. But I remember sensing it when I was very, you know, 5, 6. I was probably 5
But
years
it's-
old.
it's in you.
And
You
then
got
I
used to
remember
it.
it happened 3 or 4 months ago. I sensed it, and I don't sense it now. But at that point, it's like a very identifiable essence, and that's what fascinates
You
me.
seem a lot better
Yeah,
from the last time you came. You were
yeah,
absolutely cuckoo the last time you came.
yeah.
And your voice was strange. But now you look a lot better. You're more sensible. You
Yeah,
don't have.
I feel
you
relatively calm.
Listen carefully. Can you understand that your mother had the same problem as she gave you
Yes.
with her mother?
Yes, I do. I
That's it.
definitely understand.
She can no more help herself.
Oh,
Can you let that
definitely
go
not.
now?
Yeah.
You sit down
Yeah.
then.
Thank
It's all you need.
Yeah.
It isn't complicated. It's a good thing you said that. Now you're one of us.
It's still, right.
You're one of the real people of the world.
I still, that essence, it just
That-
fascinates. For some reason, I'm fascinated by the fact that it was a very real essence, and like 3 or 4 months ago, and I could remember it from back then, and it's like,
But
and
you're
so
aware-
my mind, is that essence,
Are you
is it
aware
still,
that
is it
this
still in
essence-
me?
This
Is it-
essence isn't you.
Yeah,
and
I
if
know
you-
it's not,
but if
and I don't
But
feel
you
it
don't let me
anymore,
finish,
and I
don't let
can't,
me
yeah,
finish.
okay.
You become conscious of it as another entity that's talking through you
Yes.
as it talked through your mother,
Yes,
and made her think that what she was doing was okay, or make her not aware that she was doing wrong. Not at all. Do you think Hitler knew what he was doing wrong? No. He never saw it as wrong. Nor do the people who he put himself into to do to others. They didn't see anything wrong with it. Everything's upside down. But if you see there's an entity, don't be afraid of it.
yeah.
And understand it came from your mother and she couldn't help it.
Oh, yeah,
But she
I
gave birth to a
understand.
little girl that has the ability to see it, and it goes away.
Yeah.
It's not you.
Yeah, I
And when you know
understand.
it isn't you, you don't have to take guilt from it. See that? You don't have to.
No,
It will guilt you. It will cause you to guilt, even to think of it,
Yeah.
because it makes you think of that it's you that's guilty.
yeah,
It's guilty for acting through you. It's always been evil that what lives through human beings and passes it on to other human beings. That's what's wrong with our country. We're going to lose our country all over that. There's hundreds of millions of people that have got that, and they think evil is good.
I have the same thing as
That's a
she.
good title. They think evil's good.
That is actually good.
Yes.
I have the same thing as she is describing when I was a little girl. I felt that same thing
Yes.
in my house, and it was very strange. And I remember sensing it being in me when I was a kid, and hearing the thought, that I should be dead, that I should just go and kill myself when I was 5. A little
Yes,
girl.
but those are not your thoughts.
Yeah.
Who put them there? You didn't. See? They're not your thoughts. My thought, but I don't try to fight it with a thought. I show you just to look at it. And trust me, if you see I'm not like your mother, I'm not like your father, I'm not like the butcher, the baker, the preacher. I'm just an ordinary man with an extraordinary thing. And now you have an extraordinary thing because you always had it. And all your anger and hostility, you got tangled up in it and thought you lost it. But it's still there because you can still hear me.
Yeah.
All you need is to hear someone says, you've got it. It's not your fault. You're forgiven.
I used
You're
to
forgiven.
indulge those thoughts when I got older, when I was a teenager, think they were me and be okay with that. And now that I'm older, I'm not okay with it anymore. I'm not comfortable with it. It's not
It's
mine.
called freedom. You shall know the truth, and your truth will set you free. Correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to go home early today.
Thank you for being here.
I think I've done my work for today.
Did a good job.
And I'm going to go home and have a good shower. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.